Welcome to today's show. It is the Spindle and the record on January 26, 2026. The still point of the spindle in the record player, the compass, the clock, the seesaw, or human lonely heart is the access point, the hinge point or pivot, the fulcrum. This position often becomes the scapegoat in a hyper-emotional state. A pivot is something that upon which something turns or depends. Woman and man are designed to unify so both can become complete in their own story of feminine, masculine, neutral, and God. Any other idea is anti-nature and God. The human anatomy is a contained version of the universe and of all of creation.
Every woman, man, or child contains the masculine force, the feminine force, and a pivot point of neutrality and multiplication that is emanating from themselves as they were when they were pure and newborn, when they were mixed perfectly with the spark or genius of God that is embedded within them. So Matt Chat wants to ask, why were we born?
Sure, the letter Y pretty much discloses it. X plus YZ makes the sound. XYs, WISE. ABC and XYZ are the triune format of every person with 19 letters in between. It's also simple and plain to see. Your story follows you as you go, so your birth is a piece of the storyline of you. Everything is a procession. Preceding the birth is a period of gestation that is preceded by conception.
So what is this precedence? Well, each of us is unique and we set a precedence by appearing in the world. So each person's name could be a precedence. Precede is what it sounds like. Pre-seed. So before you seed or plant, you have to think or make a plan. And that's what precedence is, because you're the precedence that has the creative power to think, plan, and manifest. In Germanic, the word precede contains the root th, which means the process, like in bath, birth, death. In birth, the word in Germanic is Geburt, from the Pi root ber, to carry, to bear children. And then, of course, th, the process of. In death, it is die plus th. Precede is from pre, P-R-A-E, meaning before, and sedere, to go, to yield. The example is the yield was high this season.
Our anatomy, story, and the universe is always expanding and always reducing. After mother and father is the third, the neutral multiplier, the axis, the child who holds hands with God.
All the crimes are being revealed of the last 200 years, and we now see that the entire global society was vanquished in the 1800s. And reset with demons in all of the leadership positions formerly held by people. At this point, none of that history of the crime matters one iota to any of the selfish pig humans that have developed on Earth, because over time they have been violated and now beg for their demise. But this era of Tartary, pre-mid-1800s, used all natural powers of the air and water, and there was no sicknesses or animus, or wars. The entire global society was advanced in every way. The woman-man union was considered the highest order before God, the creator of Earth and the universe. Today, whining and illness is the preferred route to nowhere and total annihilation.
And now let's look at language reveals the criminals. Admittedly, the language explains the entire crime and reveals all escapes. But at this point, sadness and pain are so inured to that humans prefer the enemy to the known enemy to any unproven escape or victory. In other words, apathy has pervaded every mind and heart to where all are dependent and lazy and frail in mind and body and spirit. It is tragic how people's soul spark is being reharvested in a continuum of birth, life, death, soul trap, rebirth, and not one sees it or cares. The soul spark and all of our histories and religions have been taught falsely and offered to us in altered states to subtly and slowly work us into weakness and dependency on the monsters and their suggestions. Money and limit are 100% lies, but all believe anyway with all of their heart energy, which is the bounty.
Yes, the bounty is our emotions, because the weight of our emotions become our principles, beliefs, motives, urges, actions, and outcomes.
So Wig asked, how do I end the mindset of failure? I don't want to be in it anymore.
Which he answered with a question mark. I don't want to be in it anymore. So even Wig isn't sure if he does or doesn't want to be in pain anymore. Because when you're kidnapped, you adapt to your kidnappers, and that becomes what you know. And what you know can become less scary than what you don't know. When we use language that is for things or pro, and we reject language that is against things, then we're trained to set our mind onto the path of glory.
Wig said, pro what? Against what?
See what I mean? You are not sure what to be for or what to be for anything even means. You lie even to yourself.
How do I be sure then to really know what to be?
How can you be sure of something you haven't seen yet? Until you point your nose toward it and go there and look at it and hold it in your hand, you have nothing. All of these answers are in you now, in your logic and intuition, and these are matched to parity when you desire to balance them. You own every answer now.
How do I tap into the answers?
You could start by offering yourself the potential that you can and that you will, by being kind to yourself. Most parents have thrown their children to the wolves, and this leaves quite a bitter taste in the child's mouth.
And Wig said, how?
Like I said, make it a potential only in your mind, and work yourself toward claiming yourself as the boss and controller of your thoughts and emotions until you do.
Well, I just want to know what it all means.
Well, if you stay in just mode, then you will receive just ice. As usual, the conversation ended there because Wig refuses to face even the potential of changing or getting better. And this is the wall that everybody's standing in front of right now. And if you want to make it easier, step back a few feet and look at all the other people staring at the wall and trying to kiss it. So what you really want to do is ask yourself, what does this wall mean, and should I be turning back? Because the truth is, life is collect and return. So let's talk about things that can be seen or heard and things that can't be seen or heard.
We have tangibles and intangibles. They are equally real based on the limits of the user's mind. All is revealed in our speech, in our relationships, and nature. Words are a map. The matrix, the escape, suffer, all expose the solution. All suffering is dispelled when you examine the word suffer or, ask. The reason suffering is held on to is because folks feel they have invested heavily into their suffering and they use it as an identifier of themselves. Humans are so amazing and sovereign that whatever they put their mind to, it will appear, even if it is their own limits and demise.
Let's talk about this confusion over dark and light and what's in the center of dark and light. Well, it would have to be the axis. So dark and light are mistaught, and winning itself flows like water. Victory is actually a simple head turn. If your heart is pulsing, you are an occupier of a spark of God, which contains all of the dark unity, all of the light separations, all that's between them, and every power and intelligence of the emergent universe, of your anatomy, and the nature that surrounds you. In the word exist or to exist, we are saying X is T or Tau. The target is Tau. The reason you exist is to become perfected, to become the X and the Tau. The X issues the symbol of 144 with 4 outreaching arms, 4 convergences, and 1 infinitesimal center point.
The axis mundi has a secret in it. Each human is the ultimate mediator, the axis of this universe. Dark and light are on a single line, and you are the central figure and the decider of fates. Duality is a false message. Under your skin, it is dark and unified. Medium equals mediator. Axis mundi is the world, but there is much more to it. If you ask, you will receive, as what you give is what you will take. Acquire knowledge, then apply it. Seek living guides. My secondhand testimony is from a living human being. And who cares? Mostly we own worldly knowledge that is set for you to believe in death. That is a false message that benefits the politicians. They know what death is, and they are hiding it from you. Seek living guides and ask them questions.
We often ask ourselves, does God answer, will God answer, or why will not God answer? How come when I ask God a question, I don't hear an answer? So some people pose that they're talking to God, and most people tell the truth, that they don't hear an answer. So the reason there's no answer is because of perception of separation. So the truth of our format here on the earth, the creative realm called earth, is that mankind is the one making reality, and God is sourcing the conditions for it. So man can will the reality of separation from God, and then he can even ask God for an answer. And then when God doesn't answer, man can pose that God isn't there. Now, if you want to ask God a question, here's where I might start.
Ask the basics. Who am I? Why was I born? Do I have a purpose? Is there a God? What is God? Is there afterlife? Can I win the game of life? Why will God not answer me directly? And so on. You are holding a spark of God inside your heart. In Latin times, it was called the genius of every anatomy. Everything is designed from one source of truth, so any lies or creations of man contain equal amounts of the natural order and the unnatural. It makes life a snap when you validate it. Define equals contain or limit. Truth is observable and validatable. Parity in all things equals pair ty, and I party. Both spell parity. Describe the expressions of God as much as you want.
Every human being is the decider of all fates. They're squarely in the middle, the central figure, the medium, the mediator. Definitions close boxes and make boundaries. Descriptions open boxes and release boundaries. Nothing we've ever experienced will ever be lost or trashed. Language is a lane gauge to every question and overturning any lie. Our speech molds our emotions and bends realities.
Prognosticators base their proposals on what happened before, but sometimes they are telling the truth in advance because the crime is so severe. A physician in the 1800s discovered all diseases emanate from foul thoughts after an extensive study of the population.
The spelling EN is the phonetic spelling of letter N, the central pivot point of the alphabet and the letter of the child. It's the name and sound of the mediator, or the neutral, pure child you were born as. The self is not an illusion. N is 13th either direction when J is removed from the definition. As they said in Latin, all ideas are coming from the mind of God. God is not a definable thing. The 25 countable letters of the alphabet act as an expression of God. It's seen in the word letter, when deconstructed, means loosen the child. Science is proving God every 10 minutes.
6969 reveals the code. One is spiral and the other is fractal, seen also here again in A and V. The contention has a still point that causes it to create its own container, 3 parts left, right, and center. 9 is the feminine and 6 is the masculine. The feminine has been obscured for 1,000 years and back to Babylon.
If you want to imagine creation, imagine nothing or the air and a dot appearing in it, turning into an A dropping from the sky, an A without a bridge. And then as it drops to the sky, it creates the V, the masculine, its alter ego out of the dirt itself. And as they come toward each other, the V rises out of the ground and meets the A, and the A touches the ground. And this makes a perfect WM on top of each other with a golden diamond in the center. This is the way creation can be seen in a simple line. The AV came from the air, the aura, the ether, and that was all the same meaning as spirit in Latin times.
When you put water or air in a container, it becomes the container. Most liquid in the anatomy is considered plasma. The plasma field in the body is identified by biologists as interstitial fluid that surrounds everywhere around the circulatory system, the organs, and the bones. It is considered the largest organ of the body, the interstitium. It is a plasmic field that connects all things in the body to the nervous system and the ethereal air.
We can see this in the symbol K, which was known throughout the North and in Africa as a double symbol made into one, with the straight line being ice and the bent lines being fire, and merged together by mystery, causing a material manifestation of a contentious anatomy that connects all things in creation. K is the 10th letter when J is considered undefinable. Say K, say 10.
What is God? God is so misunderstood by design that most of us hate God and self in equal amounts, regardless of how we are posing. We either withdraw or take our shame and pain and cast it onto others as a method of coping. Well, it is what it is. We have the true story of woman, man, the serpent, and the garden. Most of us prefer the known lie to the uncomfortable truth. So we are not fallen. Death has become far less fearful than eternal life is. Most prefer to not know their true nature, thus providing endless death and rebirth cycles for our handlers to exploit, our self-imposed handlers.
All the major institutions are developments of crime waves and crime patterns. The philosophers and the philosophy is actually the love of sophistry, philosophistry, and has turned into a design that obscures the obvious, a purely political animal, staying for religions and the holy wood. There are a million oppositions in this world to prevent you from claiming your birthright. You must want to know why you are being focused on so. Do you feel all the eyes and thoughts pointing your direction? You must be curious what untold power you are occupying.
And someone responded, I've been trying to learn the true depth of my being, yes, but there is indeed so much noise, so many explanations that seem contradictory to one another.
It's almost natural to think that it is impossible for you to ever find the needle in the haystack. The noise is intentional to cover the false messages. It's a design and a development. There are no coincidences. They are a step in processions of thoughts and actions. Language and speech carry every reveal and every conceal. The speech and language have every solution within them and within the user, and they overturn any lie.
And the response was, I'm slightly confused. I've heard that one needs to transcend all languages to arrive at real truth, as it is beyond all speaking.
That's because all the institutions are political, including the religions. So all they're going to tell you is a little truth mixed with a little lie to set you on the path of spinning in place. That's a lie. The language is how two people come to know thyself, via communicating, and it's simply observed. Speech and language is directly attached to your creative force, the force of nature, creation, and God.
Okay, right, logos.
So that's a simple way to just cast it off as a simple line on the page with no meaning. But the word logos is rooted in logic, and logic makes the sound of lodge I see, or lodge is my home. The heart is where the home is.
And Wood's response, the heart is said to have its own neural network.
So the sidestepping continues because we all walk along a line that says, I'm the boss of me on one side and people boss me around on the other side. Most of us sit on I'm getting bossed around side of the line and simply wonder about the other side of the line. But as far as what you said about the heart having a brain or a neural network, it indeed holds a patch of neurons that connect to the basal ganglia via the vagus nerve. All the pieces of me, ME, are related to material and ethereal, and they're all intentionally obscured so we can play this game. Coincidences are preceded by circumstances. Circumstances are preceded by choices. Choices are preceded by the will. And the will is preceded by the spark of God you are occupying in your pulsing heart.
Digits show the sequence patterns. Letters allow us to wander. The highest signs, symbols, or sigils are 1 through 9 and A through Z. You own them as a map. Response, is English truly sufficient? I have heard it is quite lowly as a language compared to true liturgical script and speech.
Again, the institutional lies are pervasive in every direction and have molded every human being's mind that hasn't had the core rage or courage to break out and face the challenge they were born to. The truth is, speech is alive and happening now. The past is for our reference. Ask me for the code inside correct. You are as special now as you will ever be. Nothing is unworthy or trash in this realm. God the Force is not a judge. All karma is arriving after dogma, defining things. God will set you. When we define, we set God into a box of definitions and boundaries. The word define equals limit or make a boundary. The word correct is disposed this way. COR is the foundation of correct, and it means the heart. ECT is the roof of correct, and it means to fit. The central figure in this 7-letter word is R, and R is a manifestation of P, the point of perfection.
Courage equals core rage. The PQRST was a known code for hundreds of years prior to the crimes of the Romans in I-35 AD. The CR is the reduction of core. Ask what CR means. It means collection and return. So Wig asked, what indeed is CR?
It's collection and return because each human is replaying creation and spreading everything out from the beginning.
And Wig said, collecting what? Returning what? From where and to where?
From your birth to the end of your perishing, you are looking for your inception so that you can return home. When we're born, it's a replay of creation from the beginning. We burst out and spread ourselves out. The mission is to find the pieces and return. It's a replay and exactly the same as creation itself. In the word mission, it reduces to a base of MN, the same as man.
And response was, is there a proper way to achieve this? Are there false ways that don't work?
So this is the common response, is to sidestep along the line of, am I the boss of me or do I get bossed around? But our answer was, the answers, the solutions you're looking for are inside you and in relationships and within your observation, rumination, and validation power.
Let's talk about how known things have come to us. There are known knowns, or patterns, and known unknowns, and unknown unknowns. The brain takes direct commands from our will and will assemble any way you direct it. As we apply ourselves, the brain reformulates to appease our motives. As long as the will is disrecognized, you are in a state where you can be bossed around and have false motives installed.
However, as long as you are breathing, this experience you are having as a living mortal is a golden opportunity to complete the collect and return processions.
And a response to that was, how can I come to recognize the will fully and abide in it?
You are a walking example of creative power or domain over your story, your will. You're an example of the will. You're a manifestation of will. Parity is the only law of the creative realm that we occupy and within your own body. I am a child of God. Adults are a dolt. Magic, in its formal spelling with a K at the end, does not go to the accounting department because it explains itself. The mag in magic is the magnet, and the ICK is the recognition of your format. It's the truth in plain sight.
And mag is the magnet in your heart that causes it to pulse inwardly and bursts you into form every nanosecond. The K is the symbol of mortality and its source. Who are we fighting? What is the fighting technique? We are fighting ourselves. The technique to win is to learn to know thyself. Whining defeats winning. You are at the controls. And the response was, what do I control? What is the most optimal method for control?
So instead of pointing their nose in the right direction or giving themselves the potential, they want a detailed map handed to them. So this is basically another technique of sidestepping and rejecting bosshood or domain over your own thoughts and emotions. So in their whining questions, I answered that you are born with domain and control over your thoughts and emotions, and these lead to your actions and outcomes. At any moment, you can turn your head toward claiming yourself as the ultimate boss of yourself.
Yes, start from where you are at and go on and go one step at a time at your pace. Acquire knowledge and then apply it. And the response was, I have been gathering books. I have a list.
So, politicians' favorite technique is to say, we will form a committee, we will do this, we intend to do that. And we hear this rhetoric so much that we end up repeating it to each other. So the real potential is in acknowledging that you have a potential and to point your nose to it and use language in your head that you want to get better and you want to get closer to what you're really looking for. Each of us humans is walking as an aggregate of unity and separations. We learn to know ourselves through the perceptions of others and by looking into their face and eyes. One drop of human carries more intel than all the books ever written. Each human is the center of the universe and has domain over their reality.
Yes, and the human brain is a servant to the human will. It arranges your reality according to your value determinations and choices. You are the arbitrator and the mediator. Acquire knowledge, then apply it. Seek living guides as needed because we care. Reject negative thoughts, speech, or actions to allow victory to flow. A philosopher's main objective is to obscure the obvious so that they can maintain their political and economic positions. Mixing truth and lies is a common practice in the confidence games.
Even the language itself has the tricks and the inversions everywhere. Look at the two words reference and reverence. They're relatives. Your nose knows everything that it points at because you're the observer and the owner of creative power and power over your thoughts and which way you point your nose. The nose is in the center of your face. The five senses are centered by the nose. These five senses work in an outward way as receivers, but also in an inwardly way as projectors. There are 10 senses, say 10. 5 senses work effectively going in or out. The 5 senses work outwardly as receivers and inwardly as projectors. The 6th sense will introduce you to 7. 7 is the gatekeeper to 8, 9. It's really not complex, 1 through 9. The 7 days were invented for the weak, the weaklings. Go past the 7. Why is 6 afraid of 7? And this scary fable taught to 5-year-olds.
Well, someone answered and said 7, 8, 9.
But why is a 5-year-old saddled with that torture for its entire life?
7 is the gatekeeper to 8, 9. The 8, 9 and the acronym, the end game. And you have 1 through 9 in 2 triunes, a set of 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 1, 2, 3, 4 with 5 in the middle, FIVE spelled out, and 6, 7, 8, 9. Both are triunes. The second one demonstrates the 1, 4, 4. The 7 is shaped like a scythe, like the angel of death holds. 7 is mistaught to delay progression and completion of the human independent operator. All expressions are reduced simultaneously.
And all evolutions and all expansions are compacted and reduced to their base forms. So no matter how much we spread out, nature is collecting it even if we choose not to. So nature cares about collect and return, and that's the way it operates. If you face nature straight on and squarely, you'll recognize that yourself, your format, and the nature you're immersed to are all collecting and returning. And when you start to do that, you avoid becoming a grain of sand. Let's talk about the mind, where you dig gold, and also the mind, where we all share the past, and the mimes, where we imitate each other, and the memes, where we repeat each other.
The mind is a mine of all the failed attempts since the beginning of collect and return. It is like a monkey where it can only mimic what it has seen before. Mentality and the mind are mostly conflated in our use of speech, but mental refers to the central nervous system and brain functions. The mind is a shared entity we all access in our own unique experience.
Look at the word brain, and you have three choices: be reign over self, be rained on by others, or stagnation. The brain is really primarily in three sections: the logic side, the intuition side, and the deciding central point, the will. The brain's processing 4,000 to 6,000 bits a second to render reality. But behind the cognition experience, the brain is processing 200 million bits of data per second.
The brain takes direct commands from our will and our will assembly any way you direct it. As we apply ourselves, the brain formulates to appease our motives.
There's known things are arriving to our brain and manifesting in some level of confidence in three different ways. We have known knowns, which are patterns that repeat itself over and over again, so they become known. And within these patterns, there's known unknowns because of the changes that emerge. And then nature itself will constantly emerge with new things, and these are prepared for by labeling them as unknown unknowns. As long as the will is ignored or disrecognized, then you're in a state where you can be bossed around, or you're on the side of the line where you get bossed around. And there you can easily become dependent and have false motives installed.
However, as long as you are breathing, this experience is a golden opportunity to collect and return. You are an example of the will. You are a walking manifestation of the will. Parity is the only law of the creative realm we occupy.
In Latin times, idea means from the mind of God. And on the alter ego of that is the medical institutions, which are the highest of the dynasties, and that is well obscured. In the word lazy, we have a code to overcome lazy. We have the L, which is the sprout out of the ground, the material mortal. Then the A to Z, which is our roadmap. And then, of course, for those who are lazy, the constant question of why. The PC and the internet were created to steal all of a man's focus and energy, so as to chase him away from his true nature and fire. The platforms become a place to transform lies and deceptions into realities and firmly held beliefs. The sword does cut both ways due to the law of nature. Sword spells words. I did not come in peace, but with a sword.
Politics equals politics, the many blood-sucking parasites, or two wings of the same bird. Iron to clay transhumanism was the highest order in Babylon and through to today. Emotions are not taught properly regarding what they are. All diseases come from foul thoughts.
There's two spellings of Babylon, and one is Bab-Elon for Bab-Elon. Bab-Elon as a word, whether it's spelled with a Y or an E, reduces to the letter pair LN, which is also the same reduction in the word line, lane, loan, lean, LAN, the acronym, lean, and loan. Let me know if you want to know why.
Your thoughts and emotions which lead to your actions and outcomes. Claim yourself as the ultimate boss of you.